It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'm sorry, I forgot about this. This was so long ago that I forgot about this until I saw a tweet yesterday. Then this went viral on the internet. How Trump should start the debate with Kamala Harris.
All right.
And and this is from when Larry King interviewed him in 1989. And I'd forgotten about this. It was so old. I forgot about this when he sat down with Larry King. This is how the conversation started.
Do you mind if I sit back a little bit? Because your breath is very bad. It really is. Has this ever been told to you before?
No.
Huh? Okay, then I won't bother.
That's how it started. That's how it started.
He sat down. Your breath stinks.
Brother's very. Has anyone ever told you before? Somebody should really have told you by now.
My God.
Why hasn't anybody ever told you? Ugh. Can we do this by phone next time?
I was telling you this story, and it's a talk show host, sort of popular. This goes back this has to go back 20 years ago. Was a Hollywood actor for a time, and then became for a short period of time a radio talk show host. I think he was syndicated, and he was coming in the station. I had to interview him, and he sat about 10 feet away from me.
Yeah,
you could tell he was a smoker.
Yeah, that practically has it.
Yeah,
wafting around him like Pigpen from.
Yeah, I was going to say Pigpen. I was going to say it was like Pigpen. You're like, oh my gosh, it's alive.
Yeah,
it's following you.
Yeah, you can almost see the residual smoke.
Yeah,
around them. Yeah,
I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. I was 10 feet away, and it was almost unbearable.
Right,
and it was like, and that's the thing where you're wearing the same clothes for 12 hours and smoking 5 packs of cigarettes because it's on your clothes.
Yeah. Well, and you're clearly doing that in an enclosed space, too.
Yes.
Sitting in the car for hours.
Never forget that. It was like, oh, man, that was bad. But it's, I saw that, yes. That even beat out my favorite from yesterday, which was current. In case you haven't heard this, this may be okay. This is the audio cut of the day.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree.
This the Swifties for Kamala did a Zoom call.
Swifties for Kamala.
Swifties for Kamala. That's different than Swift Boaties for Waltz.
It's the first thing I thought of when I saw this story. It's like, I know what a Swiftie is because by the way, I think they're also kind of like, in fact, very disappointed that Taylor Swift wasn't at the convention last week. She was totally a Biden person, though. When it changed to Kamala, she was out.
But this was part of the Swifties for Kamala Zoom call. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go. Let's hit it.
Players gonna play. Haters gonna hate. Baby, I'm just gonna shake. I shake it all.
Wow.
So when we look at the demographic breakdown,
She's winning.
The analysis, let's take the first part first.
She's winning with men and women children.
This is, but that's it, Wow. White women for Harris, Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. What? But it really is like talking to children.
Wow.
And I'll say this, going back to that survey earlier on people, not planning to retire, because in this group, they all think they're 3 years old and they're nowhere close to retirement.
then the white dudes.
Oh, my gosh. It's a rainbow of whiteness, all the different shades of white.
This is so great because all these white dudes here, and this the different shades of white. It's a rainbow of whiteness.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. My God.
Right.
Could you imagine anyone for Trump ever doing that?
Well, think about this. Is that not bizarro DEI? Look at all the different shades of whiteness.
Bizarro DEI.
It's bizarro DEI. Oh no, it's diversity. Look how many different shades of white we have.
Now that's really identity politics.
I mean, seriously. They
So
said it out loud.
my next question would be, so which shade is the most privileged?
Right.
That would be my question.
Right.
You've got many shades where it's a rainbow of white.
Right.
A
Exactly.
rainbow of white.
Right. A rainbow of whiteness. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's so cringe. But everything with this campaign has been, including the party's convention last week. Jon Stewart summed it up. Don't ask us. He summed it up. Everything here. Her pick for VP. I mean, total cringe.
That we have to repeat it because it was the Democrats who did it, because they play identity politics with everything. Everything is identity politics, even when it comes to how do we justify white dudes for Harris?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there's many shades.
Yeah.
Look at all the different shades.
Look at
of
our
white.
diversity.
Look at our diversity here. Many different shades of white skin.
gosh.
Or a rainbow of whiteness.
Oh,
my
man.
God.
Yeah, they said it out loud as if they're proud of it. I mean, wow. Yeah.
And then Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, well, I'm here because I'm a dude.
White.
And,
It's white dudes, man.
And I'm white.
And I'm a dude, and I'm white.
And I'm for Harris, so it's white dudes for Harris. So glad to have everybody here.
Well, what else are we doing?
What the hell is going on here?
And then Ben Stiller.
Oh my gosh! Because he said in the white dudes. Remember, that's when he said, "Well, every Jewish man wishes he was black."
Right.
Where the hell did that come from?
What?
It's like, they do?
What?
Well, you may want to speak for yourself. I don't know if you should speak for all Jewish men.
Right.
And is this a thing with liberals that they all wish that they were something else?
And then, yesterday or whenever it was recorded, he says he supports Kamala for change. He supports her because he wants change. Seriously, that is part of it. It's either he is absolute. Does he know she's the current vice president?
I don't know.
Because
I really don't.
either he doesn't or he does, and he's part of this facade building, which wants you to believe that she's not, and that Trump is the one who's causing all the current problems, as if he's in the White House right now. I mean, I don't, but it was shredded on social media yesterday, as it should have been.
It's like,
That's so thoughtless. mindless drivel. Oh, because I want change. Just come out and say it. I hate Trump to the core. I don't care who they put up there. I'm voting for that person, not him.
Well, we talked about it this week. We said, what's with the Democrats, if you look overall, the identity politics, everything that is going on, the anti-Semitism, the Jew hatred, and the how nothing is coherent that comes from them.
Right.
Nothing is coherent. Nothing connects the dots at all. And I was talking about it earlier this week, and I said, you know what it is? The identity politics, it's all hate. Hate is, and nothing is rational. It's all insanity.
No, right.
And you're like, why? Well, because hatred is not rational.
No.
And you have these people that are so filled with hate that it's like hate is the mission. And it's just not Trump. And we talked about it before. Bush was called Hitler. Romney was called Hitler. Everybody on the right has been called Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that started that one, Nazis and everything. And it's like, and then Bill Maher. Well, yeah, we said Bush was Hitler and Romney was Hitler, but Trump really is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that type of idiocy that comes from it. And then you're talking about the people that are throwing out that accusation, which actually have started lawfare to a degree that we've never seen in this country.
Well, all of the lawfare is a facade. It is. If you look at it, everything is built out of nothing. Everything here, including the nominee now, that got to that level without one single vote. Wow.
Yeah. Everything, the authoritarianism coming from the Democratic Party is, well, another one of our audio cuts of the week. We got a ton of them. I don't know which one to choose. We'll probably play all of them tomorrow because the Daily Show one with Jon Stewart definitely is an audio cut of the week, but so was Brett Weinstein.
Yeah.
And he came out and said, look, and I'm a lifelong Democrat. The Democratic Party is the racist party.
Right.
Well, what's racism built on? It's built on jealousy and envy and hate. And identity politics, when you judge people by groups and not individuals, that's where racism is born. And as we stated, the Democrat Party just went very easy from identity politics, and just this year, since October 7th, added the Jews.
Yep.
Okay, this justifies our racism towards Jews now.
Right.
We can justify it. And it's mind-boggling because they're so blunt with it. And this is why we get upset at the Republican Party, because they still have not hit back. If you're a Republican or a conservative, don't be on the defensive. Attack. They're the racists. Yep. They're the blunt racists.
They're protesting now proudly to promote their racism.
Yeah. Proudly. And it's just Republicans are like, oh, I don't know what to do. Well, you're giving it to me in a platter. Let me just hit the platter and throw it on the floor. Come on, for God's sakes. We still are not happy with the Republicans never hitting the identity politics on a consistent basis when it's the last thing that Democrats believe they have.
Yeah.
It's really the last.
Yeah, it is.
You think about that, and if you want to throw in the misogyny of the radical transgender movement, those are the places they're united. If you want to see where they're united, that 99% of the Democrats in Congress agree with the misogyny of the radical transgender movement. The hate woman movement in this country comes from the Democrats, and the identity politics of judging people by groups and not individuals has just added anti-Semitism. And they're bluntly racist. They bluntly promote their identity politics, and Republicans are, is Forrest Gump on this one? Because we can't figure out what to do here.
You'll hear a lot of that identity politics tonight on CNN in the interview.
I'm sure you will, yeah.
Which is why she brings her white life coach with her.
Well, that's, as I said, though. The reason that she has her emotional support white male mansplainer is because that's where they are now. They don't believe women have any power.
Right.
That's what's come out of the radical transgender movement, that they're 99% behind. If men get to define a woman, then of course Harris needs a white man to mansplain what she's talking about because she doesn't have the ability to do it.
Why else do you bring him?
Yeah. 866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by Howes Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Since I'm at the Farm Progress Show, we obviously want to make sure that we announce some progress.
And Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack Wednesday presented that progress report in the form of efforts to develop an H5N1 vaccine for dairy cattle.
We have a number of companies that have been working on vaccine, and one company has now presented sufficient information to the USDA to allow me to authorize, which I did this week, the first field trial of a vaccine for cattle, H5N1, for safety purposes.
The Secretary notes the field trial is the next step towards vaccine development,
which hopefully we'll be able to develop in the near term with the information that we'll get from this field trial. That will allow us to determine whether we can go to the next level, next set of steps necessary to ensure safe and effective use of the vaccine.
Further details regarding the vaccine field trial and oversight include
the Center for Veterinary Biologics basically overseeing this effort out of our facility in Ames, Iowa.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, this is really interesting. Michael Schellenberger, the part of the Twitter files and a lifelong Democrat, explains after Zuckerberg came out with his letter to Jim Jordan where the law was broken and that people should be doing jail time for it. Really, really, really fascinating because he talks about the specific law.
Right.
Go. But in other news, the insanity continues. What's the left doing now? The Vermont Department of Health published public advice to families on Wednesday, encouraging parents to refer to their children as kids rather than son or daughter, alleging that these phrases are not inclusive enough. The recommendation was included in a social media post regarding inclusive language for families. Wait a minute. Wait, Waltz is saying, mind your own damn business. Why is the government telling parents what to call their children? Waltz said it. Mind your own damn business. Why aren't they paying attention to the mansplainer?
Or does Waltz believe that your children belong to the state, so your children are their business? This is, see how they work? This is how their mind works. Don't tell me what to call my kids.
The use of language, the language we use matters, a health agency wrote. When talking about family, it's important to use terms that cover the many versions of what family can look like. These people...
I don't care about the many versions. This is what my family looks like.
These
and
people
you don't have any business.
Are insane.
Yeah.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen wherever you are, whenever you are.
Whoever you are.
All right.
And also, however you are.
However you are, yes. I want to play this audio. This is from Michael Schellenberger of the Twitter Files, lifelong Democrat, talking about the Zuckerberg letter and what it proves, that it actually proves criminal wrongdoing and that somebody should go to jail for it. Here's how he lays it out.
Zuckerberg's letter went further than what he told Joe Rogan in 2022 because he specifically mentioned Burisma, the Ukrainian natural gas company that Hunter Biden worked for. Zuckerberg wrote, "The FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 election. Nobody at the FBI has gone to prison or even been properly investigated for their crimes. And yet the evidence shows that the CIA and FBI broke the Wiretap Act and the Hatch Act of 1939, which prohibits federal employees from using their official authority or influence to interfere with or affect the outcome of an election. First, the FBI violated the Wiretap Act when it misused information it had obtained from spying on Rudy Giuliani. The FBI knew that the New York Post story about the Hunter Biden laptop would be coming out because it was listening to Giuliani's telephone calls. The Wiretap Act, formerly known as Title III of the Omnibus Crime and Control and Safe Streets Act of 1968, requires that information obtained through a wiretap can only be used for purposes directly related to the investigation for which the wiretap was authorized. Misusing or improperly disclosing this information can result in criminal penalties for the individuals involved, and the evidence obtained can be excluded from court proceedings. The FBI both misused and improperly disclosed the information. Second, the FBI spread disinformation, information it knew to be false, in order to interfere in the election. The FBI warned Facebook, Twitter, and others that forthcoming information about Burisma and Biden was Russian disinformation. The FBI knew that the Hunter Biden laptop wasn't Russian disinformation because it already had the laptop in its possession for 10 months and was spying on Giuliani. The FBI knew that the laptop was what it appeared to be, something obtained by a computer repair store owner after Hunter Biden brought it in and never came back for it.
Where's he wrong?
Yeah, I can't.
He's not wrong.
We looked at it
anywhere
back then and said, "Look, this isn't." We knew something was going on. He points out. He goes even further to point out where the actual law breaking occurred. I've said for a while, since Zuckerberg was on Rogan and talked about that whole thing with the laptop and that summer, the FBI coming to them. We've seen the Twitter files. I want to see the Facebook files because we see what Zuckerberg offered up on Rogan and now has offered up to Congress, members of Congress. I want to see everything else.
Don't you have enough now for Congress to subpoena all the records? Because Zuckerberg putting that out, as we all know, shows that a crime was committed.
Yeah, I would say that makes a case for it because you have to then take it because Zuckerberg's not going to be able to, or at least didn't do what Michael Schellenberger did here. And you need someone who's capable of, or certainly the American people, through our representatives, should look into every. I mean, again, we know just based on what Zuckerberg has released, there could be many more laws that were broken here. And if that's the case, at the very least, it warrants an investigation, I guess, to see if that is the case.
Let me give you a hypothetical for the question that you asked the other day. Why did he come out with it now?
Right. The timing, to me, was from the moment I saw that story break, I thought, whoa.
And we're talking about Zuckerberg. Why did he write that letter to Jim Jordan?
Right. Now, after all this time.
Because he's afraid Trump will become president. And if the Department of Justice under Trump investigates this, the fact that what he shows of what he knows, if he didn't release it now, I don't know if they can go back on it, but releasing it now, he hopes makes it so he can't be charged with obstruction of justice, or somebody in Facebook can't be charged with obstruction of justice because they knew. And adding Burisma in there, which ties Hunter Biden, and then everything that went on to hide the laptop story, as we said, was to protect that, which then goes to the entire point of the first impeachment, which we said a long time ago. You want the evidence. The evidence that the first impeachment was completely and totally bogus has been there for the longest time.
Yeah.
And it's right there again with it. Just to show you what the mood was of the country back in October of 2022 because of all this, and the letter that Zuckerberg wrote lines out a lot of it to Jim Jordan. But Schellenberger talks about the laws that were broken, 2 separate laws, and the Wiretap Act is really severe because that was said early on. Miranda Devine said it.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that they knew that the Post was coming out with the story is they were tapped into Zuckerberg's phone. Or excuse me, Zuckerberg. They were tapped into Rudy Giuliani's phone.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they used that information came from that wiretap they used to spread the disinformation to be part of election interference is breaking of the wiretap law just by using the wiretap itself.
Right.
But just to show you, let's go back to Morning Joe back in October of 2020. Listen to this. Listen to how he was wrong again, and the the confidence in his voice.
Arrogance.
Well, I'm saying confidence. It becomes arrogance once you realize he was completely and totally wrong and peddling BS. Now, remember, he didn't have any of this information. He didn't know. He took a side without the full information is what he did. That is arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
We never do that. If I don't have the information, I'll go, well, it could be this or it could be that, but I don't have the information. If I have the information, then I'll pound. If I got the verified information, you and I will go crazy on it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't, I don't know. It could be. Here's the hypothetical. We give the possibilities.
Right.
Mr. Arrogance didn't do that. Here we go. Back to October of 2020.
And talk about Facebook having problems and Twitter having problems with a story that even the New York Post knew was a lie. They published a series of lies peddled to them by Rudy Giuliani, who admitted that nobody else would take it but Rupert Murdoch's New York Post, because they might look into it and tell the truth. Here we are in 2020. This is what it's come down to, America. Giuliani is feeding Russian misinformation to Donald Trump and feeding Russian disinformation to the New York Post. They know it's a lie.
Yeah, well,
that's where we are in 2020.
The New York Post
just to let you know that they're still talking to Russians. And by the way, Russian hoax, come on. Really, seriously, history will expose you all as fools and useful idiots for the Russians. It's for 4 years now. For 4 years now, there has been a line from Russian agents into the campaign. It's unbelievable how stupid you think Americans are. How stupid you think Americans are. For you can just say Russian hoax. Seriously? It's the idiocy.
That aged well. 100% wrong. And I'll say this, 100% Joe Scarborough line.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? Because just like us, at that point, we didn't know who was telling the truth.
Right.
We didn't know. The story was out there. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And we were covering it, and we said, if this is true, oh, man. And Miranda Devine was already by that point a little bit, I don't know exactly what the timeline would be, but she was claiming early on that they knew when the story was coming out, which is why, they preempted the story. And why, they did all that is because they were tapped into it. She said early on they tapped into, Giuliani's phone.
Right.
And they used that to do it.
Right.
But there he is, Joe Scarborough. Look at the cockiness in it. Completely wrong.
Right.
Just like the whole thing about Joe Biden, huh?
And look at everything that constitutes his misinformation.
Yeah.
It's basically everything fed. It's exactly what was going on then, right? Let's control Facebook. We know we can control MSNBC. That's not even a secret.
But who was the tool of the Russians? Joe.
Yeah.
Because the only Russian we know that was involved in anything with the Russia collusion hoax was Iggy Danchenko.
Right.
Who helped write in a drunk fest the dossier that the Democrats then were able to get a secret warrant when they gave it to the FBI to spy on Trump. And it was all BS. It was all money, campaign money from the Hillary campaign. We know that for a fact.
Right.
So who's spreading disinformation? Probably, you look in the media, whether it was Biden or this, he was one of the primary promoters of media disinformation.
Yeah. You heard it right there.
Yep, you heard it right there. The internet exists, Joe. Wrong again. Lying again.
I just love it.
But you had Mika's approval.
And then the whole thing.
Did you hear Mika go?
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear her say they're soiling themselves?
And Russian hoax.
Right.
Come on. Seriously. It's like.
I will say
I
this.
love this time machine thing called the internet.
I know.
Because he defeated himself so badly and then goes even further with the whole Russian hoax line.
I know.
Oh, my gosh. It just gets worse.
You and I were saying this, that I've worked for a lot of radio stations. If we ever told the lies or had the misinformation that Joe Scarborough did, our companies would not have kept us. We could not have survived management saying, look, we don't mind you having an opinion, but you've been wrong on such big cases and made accusations against other people that are completely false, and you did not have the complete story. We can't have that. There's no way if I did that, we would ever. I know with the management I've had that I would ever continue to be employed.
That and the audience would reject us.
Yeah,
but the audience at MSNBC does not.
No, they don't. No, you're right. We would be rejected if we would be getting complaints like crazy if we lied or put out disinformation like that.
Right.
How do we know? Because when Eric and I were on together for less than a week, one of us said jokingly when it was, somebody said it's over, and we went, it's over? Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Of course, that classic line from Animal House. And we got email, for months. You guys are the new talk show. You're a bunch of idiots. You didn't even know it was a Japanese that bombed Pearl Harbor. Remember that?
Right. We had to correct him that it was the French.
Exactly. Right.
Exactly. We look forward to your
The French
email.
don't attack anybody. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. We are Red Eye Radio. We're not it's. We are we. We are Red Eye Radio.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio is what he's trying to say.
Well, tonight is the Snorefest.
Yeah. Her first unscripted interview. I love the way they wrote that at CNN.com. I don't know. I guess we missed the scripted interview.
Well, yeah, because we had talked about who's been doing scripted interviews.
Right.
Unless it's so common at CNN.
That didn't even occur to him to not put it in his article. Yeah, he just... Yeah.
Where it's like, well, this is going to be an unscripted one.
Right. Hey, we're going scripted or unscripted on this one? Unscripted. Really?
Wow.
That's not what we usually do. Are you sure? Did you guys tell Dana? We're going to have lots of audio.
Yes.
It will be a great Friday show.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.